Hello, friends. Welcome back to Get Happy, Be Fit. This is another episode specifically concentrating on the Get Happy element of Get Happy, Be Fit. As I've said in the past, getting happy first was one of the biggest tipping points of having success on my fitness journey. And lately, I've been doing something I used to consistently make a conscious effort of, and it reminded me how much easier and more fun it made weight loss and life in general. When I look back, the times I was practicing this are the times when it seemed like everything I wanted or set my mind to, I got. And that practice is simply making a point to feel really good on a daily basis. I have been consistent with a gratefulness practice for years. I make a point to think about all of the things that I'm grateful for every day. And that certainly is an aspect of feeling good, as is doing things that feed your soul, which I talked about in a recent episode. But I've been adding some elements of feeling good throughout my day that go beyond being grateful or recharging by feeding my soul. I spent a lot of my life intentionally avoiding feeling good or content for a lot of reasons, but one of the big reasons, which I've talked about in the past in relation to weight loss, is that if I felt good, then nothing would change. If I showed that I was content or happy with what I had, I was afraid I would never have more. Or if I felt happy with my body where it was, I was afraid I would never be thin. The discontent had to be present in order to get what I wanted, or so I thought. Not to mention that a lot of people don't like happy, content people because they themselves are not happy and content, so they begrudge it of others. And as they say, misery loves company. I haven't been in that space with my physical appearance in a long time, but that tendency still does pop up in just about every other aspect of my life at one point or another. Thinking back, I can practically pinpoint the exact time that things started to change for me, when all of the answers to my weight loss struggles came about, including finding a therapist that helped me find love and respect for myself and my body, when I started having more and more success with my acting career, when I started to enjoy life more than I ever had. All of this started to happen when I first started this practice of feeling good on purpose. There is a common misconception that severe struggle has to accompany anything worthwhile. I do believe there can often be a lot of hard work involved in getting those things, but hard work isn't necessarily miserable or a struggle. Hard work can be satisfying and even fun, but especially among my fellow actors and creatives, there seems to be this belief that in order to be a real artist, you have to be a struggling artist. I definitely believed that for a long time, and when I had that mindset, I never really had success. But when I found joy in what I was doing and practiced feeling really good on a day-to-day basis, no matter what was going on, more and more good things, including acting work and weight loss, kept showing up. That doesn't mean I felt good every second of the day, but I found little moments to stop and feel really good, even if it was only for a couple of minutes at a time. Whether or not you believe in something like the law of attraction, feeling good is said to be an essential element of attracting the things you want. This is based on the belief that because everything is energy, including our thoughts, that whatever frequency you're vibrating on is what you will attract more of. So if you're feeling good, you will attract things that make you feel good. But even if you don't believe in all that, there is something to be said for how much better we function when we're not bogged down or constantly miserable. On days when I feel good, I get so much more done. Or when I'm feeling stressed or overloaded and take the time to say, okay, what would feel the absolute best right now? And do that thing? The things I needed to do and I felt so bogged down by still get done, and I usually end up enjoying it more. Case in point, last week, when I had the epiphany that I hadn't been making a point to feel really good and that I'd been relying on my circumstances to dictate how I was feeling, I felt so behind on everything. My kitchen was a mess and I was behind on work and I didn't want to do any of it. I started questioning why I ever thought this life and career were what I wanted because I just felt so bogged down by all of it. I also woke up feeling completely exhausted that day. I had had 2 cups of coffee and still had a hard time keeping my eyes open. So I asked myself, what would feel the absolute best right now if nothing was hanging over me and everything was done? What would feel really good? And the answer was lying down, reading, and taking a nap. So that's what I did. There was a little resistance in the beginning. It took some conscious effort to really sink in and let it feel really good. I initially felt some guilt for not working and cleaning. Then I remembered all of the times that I would sit and visualize my house being super clean instead of forcing myself to clean when I just really didn't want to, and how that always resulted in me being super motivated to clean at some point. And not only was I able to find time for it, but it was fun. Same thing with work and even working out. If I visualize the end result and the relief I feel when I'm done or the excitement of reaching my goal, motivation will come. And you know what? That is exactly what happened. Throughout the rest of the day, after I woke up from my glorious nap, I made a point to think about and concentrate on things that made me feel really good. I visualized everything being done and my house being super clean and how good that feels. I didn't stress about things not being done. I just kept asking myself, what feels really good in this moment, and soaking that up. I still got my workout in that day, and it was an awesome workout. I still ate everything on my meal plan and nothing more. I got a little bit of laundry done, all while feeling really good. Then the next day when I asked myself, what would feel good right now? The answer was cleaning the kitchen, and it did feel good. I listened to an audiobook and cleaned the crap out of my kitchen, y'all. It took way less time than when I do it begrudgingly, and I still had plenty of time and energy to get other things done. I've been doing this all week and it has felt so good. I'm more present, less stressed, and way more inspired. I forgot how much more satisfying and successful it is to seek inspiration rather than forcing something for the sake of being productive. I feel a consistent obligation to do things and be productive, largely because I do tend to feel really good when I'm productive. It usually starts as inspiration that I'm super excited about, so being productive is easy. Then over time, it turns into an obligation that weighs me down and it no longer feels good. I spend more brain power thinking of how to make my endeavors more successful instead of enjoying the process and letting it come from my heart. I am often stressing out about podcast episodes or Instagram posts because I'm afraid that what I want to talk about or feel inspired to talk about isn't what other people want to hear. I'm almost always stressed about making sure that I'm putting out content, that my content is always consistent, to the point that sometimes it feels forced and I forget that that never works the way I want it to. The episodes that I have been the most inspired to do, the ones I feel the best about and that make me feel the happiest, are the ones I get the most positive feedback on. And even if that wasn't the case, even if I lost listeners or followers for creating content that I truly believe in and feel good about, I'm far more likely to stick with something and be consistent with it if I believe in it and enjoy it and feel inspired to do it. And if I consistently do that rather than force content without any inspiration behind it, it will inevitably attract the listeners who are inspired by what I specifically have to offer, and that's what I want anyway. You may hear me talking about this and think, Natalie, if I only always did what would feel really good in that moment, I would always be lazy and never get anything done. Or you may be thinking, you've said you work out when you don't want to before. So first off, if you're really honest with yourself about what would actually feel really good, sometimes it might be being lazy for a bit. But being lazy doesn't always feel good. If all you ever want to do is be lazy, chances are you aren't doing anything for yourself that truly feels really good. Being numb, which is often what being lazy results in, is not feeling good. It may feel better than feeling super anxious or stressed out about everything you have to do, but numb is not an amazing feeling. And yes, sometimes I feel like I don't want to work out and I do it anyway. But doing that feels good to me. It feels good to accomplish it. It feels good to push past the fatigue and prove to myself that I'm stronger than I feel in that moment. It feels good because I really want to accomplish my goals. That's why I say visualizing the end result is a huge motivator for me. It gets me excited about reaching my goals, so doing what it takes feels good even when it's difficult. So here is a little list of things I personally do to get in the space of feeling really good on a daily basis. I think of memories and experiences that made me feel really amazing. For instance, I frequently relive getting phone calls from my agent telling me I booked really awesome roles. I love on my silly little pups and kitties and really soak up how adorable they are, how much I love them, and how lucky I feel to have them. I watch or listen to things that make me laugh and smile. I have a whole playlist that is music that makes me feel good, and I just dance around to it and act like an idiot. I relive the feeling of freedom and relaxation I experience when I'm on vacation or have just finished a time-consuming project. I visualize already having everything I want and soaking up the feeling of having it without letting the gremlins in my head say, yeah, that would be nice, but you don't have that now. Because in that moment, I do have those things and I can fully live in it. But that may not work for you. For some people, that just makes them feel depressed when they come out of that visualization because all they can see is not having those things in the here and now. Just like on your weight loss journey, you have to find what works for you specifically. There's no wrong way to do it. There's no wrong way to find what feels really good. And it can be a fun experiment to find what makes you specifically feel really good. You're not going to absolutely love every aspect of life. You can't always feel good every second of the day. But in my experience, when you take some time to concentrate on feeling really good and make choices to do things that make you feel really good and things you really want to do on the daily without letting guilt or anxiety creep in, life is so much easier and more fun. And for me, that has resulted in getting more and more of what I want out of life. So try that today. Do something that makes you feel the way you want to feel, that makes you feel really good. Make it a habit and watch what happens. All right, that's all for today.